Whoa. Whoa. It's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth for Sober Wednesday. Sober Wednesday here. I think it's a Wednesday, right? December 4th. I didn't even check. It could be a Tuesday. I don't know. Let's see. It's Wednesday, the 4th of December. We're here for a Sober Wednesday, and it's Wednesday. It's a nice touch. Combo. Anyway, so we're here for Sober Wednesdays, where we spend an hour live streaming in the solution. We're about in the solution, and many people suffer in all sorts of ways. They suffer with drugs, alcohol, food, shopping, buying, sex, pornography, cigarettes. I don't know, dude, sticking thumbtacks in their foreheads, man. And the reason that people do all of this stuff is to cope with the uncomfortable reality of being a human being, a spiritual being having a human experience. Is that it? Something like that. And the disconnect, right? And it's a painful experience. And until we realize that there is a solution that offers us a way that doesn't have to anesthetize our pain, we will keep doing what we do. And so we're here to offer a path forward, because it's not easy to live this spiritual experience in this human body, in this world full of psychopaths and lunatics doing insane things and lying and causing chaos constantly, dude. So it's pretty easy to justify the need to escape into a substance or an activity. But what we realize is those substances and activities do not lead anywhere at all, and eventually just stop working, man. So with that said, we're going to get into that, and we're going to focus tonight on mental health, and I'll get into that in a second. But we like to start this out with a serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's a tough order. But God's got it covered, man, if that's where you're at. So this is not affiliated with AA or anything like that, though we do read chapter 5 from the big books of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm a big believer that AA is a super functioning path if you suffer from alcoholism, but there's plenty of other 12-step programs depending upon whatever your stuff is. But with that said, dude, it's look, I'm going to be 15 years sober here and at the end of the month, God willing. And I can tell you from a total lunatic perspective that AA has been the thing that works. I've worked in the industry, I work and the whole thing, and I can see it, dude, is you may need to go to rehab, you may need to get counseling, you may need to do various things, but at the end of the day, the only thing I've truly seen work is to truly do the work on yourself and examine the inner self. Because again, the drugs, the alcohol, the pizza, the sex, the pornography, the whatever it is, aren't the problem. They've just been a coping mechanism. The problem has always been our inability to deal with ourselves, because inside of ourselves is a freaking scary monster. Big scary monster staring us in the mirrors. And so missing remote. Thank you. And so we're here to offer what has been offered to us as a solution. And the blueprint to that solution is 2 pages from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You just replace the word alcohol with whatever it is, right? But again, the alcoholic idea is super gnarly. So here we go. Chapter 5, how it works. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot and will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They're naturally capable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you've decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any lengths to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go. Absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, as we understood and praying only for the knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Many of us have exclaimed, "What an order! I cannot go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have sat down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter of the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he were sought. All right, man. There you go, dude. There you go. There's a 2-page blueprint to get to the solution, man. And look, I think what I wanted to do is focus on the mental health aspect of it all. Is sobriety is an interesting game, right, man? You get sober, you do the work on yourself, you get under the hood, you find out what you're all about or what you're not all about, and your dirty, dark secrets and all this kind of stuff. And you go to God and you unload that stuff and you start getting honest with other people around you. For a lot of us, the thing that we discover, and we don't discover it so quickly, is our mental health condition, man. Is that a lot of what's been going on is some mental health issues. And we live in a society that is somewhat like socially acceptable about like drugs and alcohol and getting sober and like, oh, you got a problem with drugs and alcohol, good for you, and all that kind of stuff. But then when it comes to it, this mental health thing is sort of a real tricky subject that people are, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment, a lot of I don't know what to do. And let's be clear, I don't know if it's fixable. It's one thing to get off the drugs and alcohol and start dealing with yourself, but mental health stuff's for real, dude. And the trouble with mental health stuff is it's mental, dude. And so for me, I guess I should go into my own experience first. I want to make it clear. So Sober Wednesday, I'm going to do a little preamble because this is specific about a friend of mine who's experiencing some mental health difficulties right now. And this friend of mine is responsible for why I do Sober Wednesdays, dude. So back in 2020 during the Cuck Fest, we there were no meetings. I'm an AA guy, and there was no meetings, right? And I, at that point I was 11, 12 years sober. So I wasn't tripping about like no meetings, like whatever, dude, like whatever, man. And it was about a year into that thing, or 10 months or whatever it is. And you start to get a little squirrely after a while, just knowing there's no meetings to go to, that it was all locked down and shut and all that kind of stuff. And that might not have been people's experience all over the place, but it definitely was in the greater Los Angeles metro area. They shut it all down. AA closed its doors. And so we were left on our own. And a friend of mine was TikToking and YouTubing and the whole thing. And his thing came up on my feed one day. And he's a dude I'd known for a while and done a lot of like we kind of got into this offshoot sobriety thing, and super solid sober dude and a renegade just like me. And I saw what he was doing, and I called him up and I was like, "What's going on at your house, dude?" He's like, "Dude, come on down. We're having these meetings in our backyard. They're all clandestine, and you just got to park down the street. Don't park in front of my house, and like walk up all like nonchalant and go around the back and whatever it was." And what was going on is he was having secret meetings in his backyard in some neighborhood in Agoura. And broadcasting it live. And I think we were reading A New Pair of Glasses at the time, right? I think it was that, or Sermon on the Mount. I think it was Sermon on the Mount. Anyway, he was broadcasting it live, and there was a bunch of like gnarly AA dudes I knew there, and there was a bunch of like heavyweights there and a bunch of randoms there. And he had a whole scene going on. And so he was broadcasting these meetings live, where we would talk and share. And he said, "This is what we're doing." And there'd be cameras all up. And his thing was like, "We're not anonymous anymore. We can't be anonymous anymore. They've shut the meetings down. The people are suffering out there. And we're not worried about it being about drugs and alcohol. We're worried about people's general well-being at this point. So we're gonna broadcast the message." And lo and behold, I started going every week. I would show up at this thing, and a lot of people that weren't drug addicts and alcoholics heard the message, heard what it was that we talk about in this book here, and the solution. And we're like, "I need help. I'm struggling right now." And they started showing up to this meeting. And in that process, a good friend of mine, God rest his soul, Mike Train, and I shouldn't say his name, but anyway, I don't know. Anyway, he was like one of the watch commanders for LA County sheriffs. He was a really good dude and a surfer and a friend of mine. And he was suffering, and he took his life in the middle of all that stuff because he didn't know how to reach out to someone and ask for help, and he terminated himself. And we lost a good one, dude. And so I realized that I needed to go live, and that's where Sober Wednesday came from. Sober Wednesday is not dedicated to getting sober. Sober Wednesday is dedicated to staying alive. And for a lot of people out there, drugs and alcohol aren't their problem. Mental health is their problem. Suicidal ideation's their problem. Craziness is their problem. Sloth, all these things are problems. And for many of us, we coped with these problems with drugs, alcohol, food, sex, pornography, whatever it is. We dealt with this because you can't be sane in this world. This is an insane reality, especially if you're in North America. This is an insane, or the Western world in general. This is insane. What's going on is truly insane. So to think that you can walk through this reality unscathed mentally is, I think, somewhat questionable. I think it's what Bukowski say, that anyone who claims to be sane in an insane world is insane, dude. Like, if you're sane in this, you're fucked up, dude. And so, so what it is I got sober. And so anyway, so my friend who started all this stuff is going through a mental health crisis, but he's a big YouTube TikToker guy. He passed me, like, when we started the thing and he was doing it, his numbers were way low, and then he blew up on TikTok and his whole thing blew up, and he couldn't handle it, dude. And so he's suffering right now. Does that mean I don't know what, like, mental health, man, is burly, dude. Is going off the deep end mental health the same as doing drugs and alcohol? No. But is it the same as doing drugs and alcohol? Yes, dude. It's a mixed bag. Like, yes, the one thing that we don't do is put drugs and alcohol in our body. That's the one thing we don't do. But what does happen is our body short circuits, our mind short circuits, and it looks the same. Look, man, I know people I've had in my own life. So I used to be my brother's keeper. I had a good friend of mine who was having a bipolar situation, and his mom asked me to take care of him. This is about 12, 13 years ago. Asked me to move in and take care of him, just to keep an eye on him, just to, make sure nothing really bad happened. And I dealt with this. The dude didn't drink or do drugs, dude, but this dude was crazy as the day is long. And he might as well have been doing drugs and alcohol. It was more erratic. A drunk at least just sits there and gets drunk and falls down and pisses their pants. This dude was sober and on the move, dude. And it was hard to get anyone to do anything about it, because what are you going to do? It's all in his head, man. So when we're here in this thing is so we get sober, right? We stop putting drugs and alcohol in our body. We go on the journey of finding a spiritual solution. We get interface with God. We face the person in the mirror, and we think we're okay. We do. And you might be. I don't know. This is not something I can determine for you. But I can share from my own experience that for me personally, I can share from my own experience that about 8 years into my sobriety, I had a small child. I had my wife. I had my stepdaughter. I had the Rainbow Mountain little compound going on, and it reared its ugly head. My mental health issues is I suffer from depression, man. Like, and it was one of those things that a lot of us with mental health issues, we get around it by, like, admitting it in a flip way, right? As I said, is the way we got around it is, what's my quote is, the only way they can deceive you is by telling the truth. The only way we got around it was like, yeah, I suffer from depression. Yeah, like whatever, like, yeah, whatever. Dude, same way I used to cope with drugs and alcohol. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, whatever, dude. Bah, bah, bah. Used to joke about it at the bar, dude. Yeah, of course I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, what of it, dude? Right? Because it like admitting it is to, like, deny it in a weird way. So you moved in the thing, and my mental health almost destroyed my life, gnarlier than me doing drugs would have. I'm sitting up there. I got a new child. I got my wife. Her career's killing it. I got my stepdaughter, who at that time was a giant gnarly, like, at war with me. because she had it out for me. We're all good now, dude. Like I got through that. We worked through all that. But it was burly, dude. And so I had a herniated disc, right? I couldn't surf, I couldn't skate. I had a newborn baby. I think I was 6 or 9 months. I'm homeschooling the teen. My wife's killing it her career. I'm now the stay-at-home dad. Like Al must have been 2. So she's the one and a half, something like that. I got a herniated disc. I can't walk. I'm atrophied. I got all this going on. Well, my depression took over, dude. And you could say that on a certain level of my own interface with the people around me was no different than as if I was popping Xanny bars and slugging tequila, dude. I was agitated. I was irritable. I was withdrawn. I was short-tempered. I was stuck in my own mental prison, dude. And it doesn't really get addressed a lot in sobriety. I mean, nowhere in there, dude, is does it talk about the mental health stuff really, like, deeply, but it does talk about it in an abstract way, is about being honest. Man, there are chances that there are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them recover if they have the capacity to be honest, right? And it's the moment of honesty. So I had that moment of honesty. I remember I was doing some marriage counseling with my wife because I was a giant pain in the ass. So she was like, dude, like, and I was like, all right, I'll go see the counselor. So we were doing this counselor thing. I think I had my blue mohawk going on at the time, dude, and I was out of my tree. It was the time when I was about the time I had the blue mohawk going on. And I remember we're sitting down at the thing and we're talking to the dude and she's talking and I go, yeah, I think I'm depressed. And I remember like the room stopped for a moment and the marriage counselor guy and my wife both like looked at me and each other and looked at me and were like, and I kind of sat there and I was like, yeah, like I think I'm depressed. But it was one of these moments where like I was like, oh yeah, like I'm like mentally depressed, like I'm fucked up. And I remember like them like being like, whoa, dude, and leaving. And then the next day, I remember I prayed a lot that night. And I woke up the next day with like clarity. And I went to this giant AA meeting, like a giant one, like one of those big ones, dude, right? And it was, I knew what it was. It was like and it was with all my like people in my community, like the bigger Malibu AA. So there's a lot of peripheral people I knew. It was a lot of like people I knew there. And that was why I went, because I was like, I'm going in and I'm raising my hand and I'm going, I don't know about any of this AA stuff. But like I'm fucked and I'm suffering from depression and it's destroying my life gnarlier than drinking right now. So I went down to this meeting, man, and they shared and the whole thing. And I remember I raised my hand and I was like, and I said that I was like, look, I'm suffering from depression. I don't know if I'm even in the right spot. Like, but the AA stuff's not doing it for me. I'm like truly like it's all falling apart. And I remember at that moment, and I make a crazy video. If you go into my archives, I make a crazy video right when I get out of that meeting. Because it was like the moment of truth. Like I got up in front of a room of like 120 people that I knew and was like, I'm suffering here. And I'm suffering about something I don't want to admit. Like all day long, I'll go, dude, I'm a drunk, dude. Like, whatever, bro. I'm a drunk, man. I don't even like admitting like I suffer from depression right now. Like, it sucks, dude. Because it's not something I like, look, I'm an alcoholic, right? Like, I'm allergic to alcohol, right? If I drink, I'll drink more and I'll drink it all and I'll do blow and drugs. Burn it all down. I won't care. right? Because I'm allergic, but I'm also like use alcohol because I have a spiritual problem, right? I don't have that spiritual problem anymore. Like God's in my life. So like I took care of that. But I also have a mental obsession, but I don't have that anymore because the obsession's been removed. But I of the three things that make me that make an alcoholic, right? The spiritual malady, the mental obsession, and the body, the allergic reaction, right? I've taken care of two of them, right? And they pretty much hold me in place because the third one is an action. Like as long as I don't pour the booze down my thing, I'm not going to have the allergic reaction and drink more, dude. So like that's what the spiritual and the mental, right, take care of. And the reason I don't have an obsession about it is because I have a spiritual understanding, right? So it's like a spiritual connection with God, which takes care of my mental obsession, which takes care of my physical obsession, right? So there's like a chain of custody there with my sobriety. But mental health is a way different beast because it's not me putting something in my thing. It's not my inner. I can be batshit crazy and depressed and still like interface with God, right? I can be batshit crazy and not drink and all that kind of stuff. But what happens is it's not something I have the ability to alter. It's part of me. If you get into like the 6 and 7, right? Like if you get into step 6 and 7, humbly ask and remove our shortcomings. 6, entirely, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Like it's not even a defect of character, it's a defect of my like mental wiring. And so what you find out is the minute I admitted I suffer from depression, it was like the 10,000-pound weight came off. It was almost like it relieved, took care of the issue, right? Because I was like, I came out of my mental depression about it, right? And so I admitted it to myself and to a bunch of other people and God, and from there forward, I was able to see it for what it was. Now, what is it, right? Like for me, one of the things I can do is I can understand that a lot of my mental health issues come from my diet. Like that's the most tangible thing I have to my mental well-being is my intake of sugar. Like sugar is directly correlated with my mental depression, right? Like I can get depressed on because the sun's up, dude. Like that's what sucks about mental health, man, is part of the AA thing is like you can start your day over at any time you want. You can start over anytime you want. Like I can't. I suffer from mental health issues. Like it is bioelectrical. It is gnarly, right? So I got to maintain my sobriety just to have a chance not to falling down the bunny hole of depression, right? And so yeah, like if you suffer from depression, right? Like it can be the most beautiful day the world has ever seen. And if you're in the funk, if you're in it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how beautiful. It doesn't matter that your child's smiling and the dog is chasing the ball and the birds are chirping. Like it's fucked. And normally with that, it's just smoke a little weed or do a little bump or drink a little tequila or whatever it was, right? Like, well, that will fix it, like temporarily and spark you out of. But I don't have those tools, right? So part of my thing is acceptance to it and understand on a deep level and 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 so what I noticed is my buddy replaced drugs and alcohol with fame and TikTok and YouTube, dude, and got obsessed by it, dude, and lost track of the whole thing. And because he didn't drink, so listen, when we have these issues going on with ourselves, sometimes life's gnarly, dude. And not even depression, just life, right? Sometimes it gets so bad that we almost would be better off drinking, right? Not because we would be better off drinking, but that we're so crazy that how do we get out of it? Because like if I drink, right, I know that I just need to get sober and most of the problems will disappear. But when you're stone cold sober guy and now you're fucked, what do, man? And that's where it's super hard because I can't just go and look at something and go, well, that's the problem, right? That's the problem. And I'm doing too much of that. And it's burning my life down. It's like in here behind a bunch of like plates and mirrors and smoke and stuff. And I'm like, where is it, dude? And the dude in the mirror is like, man, it's right here, man. And you're like, dude, I don't know, man. And whatever. And so like for me, like I'll just go hide in my sleeping zone, dude, and get sleepy. Go and put the covers over my head and just sleep it out. Like I used to have it pretty dialed until I really faced up to it. It was a 3-day cycle. I could feel the depression coming on. I knew I just needed it to go to sleep. 3 days later, go to a meeting, I'd be fine. But like that works when you're a bachelor, like you're a single dude. Like that doesn't work when you got a family, man. You know, like yesterday, I got like life kicked my ass yesterday, dude. I was bummed yesterday. Not in the sense of like the illusion. I knew it's all a joke. Like I know this is all a joke, but that still doesn't mean that like gnarly letters from the IRS, broken pumps, this and that. Oh, excuse me, this and that doesn't affect me physically, right? And it sent me down the bunny hole. And literally, dude, I remember I was walking from out to the field, and I was like, maybe weed would help, right? Maybe some weed would like smoke some pot, dude. And I was like, again, I have enough sobriety where I can look at that thought and be like, wow, that is drugs. That is an alcoholic mind. See, my alcoholic mind is trying to find a way to satiate the thing, just to smooth it, calm it all down, feel better right now. But what I've learned being sober is just to let it suck. Just let it suck, man. Just sit there and be like, this fucking blows, dude. Rawr. And sit there and get to the bottom of that. Just get to the bottom of it, dude. And be like, okay, now what? Don't do that. Now what? And then you go, all right, well, I got to turn to God, right? I got to turn to God. I got to ask someone for help. I got to pick up the phone. I got to talk to someone. I got to do an action. For me, a lot of times I'll just take off my shoes and just go sit and put my feet in the dirt and just stare at the mountains and just be like, all right, dude, like, because see, I suffer from depression, dude. Like like people don't want to talk about it. Like I have suicidal thoughts regularly, dude. This life down here does not like overwhelmingly make me be like, oh, bitching, dude. Like, yeah, that's so rad, dude. I go, dude, I see the beauty. I love my son, my wife, my farm, surfing, this and that. I see so much beauty. It hurts, dude. The pain of seeing the beauty in this world full of fucking barbarism and pain and suffering. That's painful. It is painful to look at the beautiful mountain range and just know there's idiots that want to destroy it, dude. It is painful to look at a beautiful child that you love and know on the other side of the planet, someone would just drop a bomb on them, dude. That kind of shit, that's my mental health. I have a mind that's redlining constantly, just fully like all day long, dude. And sometimes I can turn it off. Sometimes I like, I got to make the video. Like I love going up and chainsawing firewood. Why? Because I don't think about nothing when I got a chainsaw in my hand. When I got a chainsaw in my hand, I am so focused on making sure my feet aren't there and my kid's not there and where everything is. And like, I don't have time to think about anything. It's very meditative, dude. And so it's the same thing like with other aspects. Like, can I calm down enough to sit in the lotus position and on a chair and sit there and meditate? I wish I could. I can't. Because on the other side of my depression is this just insane, like, right? And I like why do I love Legos, dude? Like, why do I love Legos, dude? Because they calm me down. Because I can sit with the bricks and I can like disappear. Because I've tried, like, me creating stuff with the Legos makes me insane. Me following the instructions and just going click, 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 click. Dude. Same thing when I'm making my art and the stuff and all of this thing. So what I'm getting at is sobriety is super powerful. And then you bump into like some gnarliness inside yourself. And some of you don't have that, dude. I remember I was working with this girl at this rehab I was working at. So, normies work at rehabs, right? People that don't have drug and alcohol problems, they just have careers or someone they work there. So I was working with this girl. And she was like, I don't know what we were talking about. I liked it. What was her name? Maureen, I think. I was talking to this girl, Maureen, and at whatever, we were working together. And I was like, we were talking about this. I was like, yeah, I wake up in the morning and I'm like underwater and I'm like, I got to battle to be stoked. Like, I don't wake up stoked. I'm like, it's a warfare and I got to check all the switches in my mental control panel to see what's going on and this and that. And like, it's gnarly. And I was like, so what's it like when you get up in the morning? And she's like, I just get up in the morning and like make coffee and do my workout. I go, you don't have any like internal struggle about the day and what it's all about and the things? She's like, no. I just get up in the morning, have my coffee, do my workout. And I was like, that's the difference between alcoholism and not alcoholism. I wake up in the morning every day, like, where the fuck am I? And what am I supposed to do? I haven't woken up in my entire life where I'm like, oh, bitching, man. Like, I mean, I have sometimes, usually around surfing situations. But what I'm getting at is there was this time I was living in Bozeman, Montana, dude. And I remember there was this like 2 or 3 week period where like every day it was like snowing just enough, not a lot, but it was just snowing consistently. And every day, me and my girl, we'd get up, we'd make our coffee, we'd get in our car, we'd drive up to the mountain. We had a little red 2-wheel drive pickup truck. We'd drive real slow up to the mountain. We'd get on the lift, and every day at the same time, we'd be on this lift, and it would just be like snowing. They look the same every day for weeks. Like that's as close as I ever got to it being like normal, like a normal headspace, where it was just consistent. Like every day it was just that. Every day was like boom, 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 all stoked. Just like, bitching, it's snowing again. Like, let's go, dude. Suit up in the car with our little coffees and on the lift and all day long. And then at 4:00, like, I back down the thing and eat food and like for me, I wake up every day going, who am I? Where am I? And who are these people? And like, what's going on? And like, oh my God, dude, like if I don't jump into this, the chickens are going to go hungry, dude. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's gnarly, man. And throw in the fact that like, if I go wedge a bunch of donuts, I'm doomed. So I have an extra layer of insaneness besides like your baseline sober dude. Look, there's like normie sober people. Like if there's normie people, and then there's like the alcoholic people that use stuff to deal with their just basic bullshit in life, and they get around it. There's like another level of insane people that are sober with mental health issues. Like, so I got to deal with that on top of just maintaining my sobriety. And for me, a lot, it's like, yeah, dude, like I would love to wedge a cheesecake. Like, yeah, I'd love to wedge a cheesecake. But I also know, I remember the first time so like after I got my wife, after I declared my depression, my wife worked with me a lot to clean up my diet, dude, right? Because I was pretty close, but I still like to smuggle the sweets, dude. But she was like, look, that's when we made the videos about making the non-chocolate chocolate stuff with the coconut manna and all that kind of stuff. We have videos of it, dude. But so like I cleaned up my diet a lot, even more, dude. I cut out the sugar and the whole thing, and I was doing the deal, and I was all like supplemented out, and I was like in the zone. And I remember it was my mom's birthday. It was my mom's birthday, and we bought her this like bitchin' beautiful like chocolate cake, like one of those fancy like designer rad little, like the small one, not the big one, like the good one, you know, like the high dollar super tasty chocolate cake, right? And I was remember I had a slice. I was super clean on all the sugar for like 6 months, dude. I was like, because I was making a comeback, dude. I was trying to save my life, dude. That's my wife was so sick of my bullshit at that point. Like she's not normally, but like she was extra sick of my insanity. And so I was trying to get it together. And so I remember I had a slice of that chocolate cake with my mom that night. And because the next day I woke up and I might as well have been in Curtis McCormick's The Road, dude. Like that was the day I woke up and knew I was on the road, dude. Just like post-apocalyptic nuclear winter, The Road. And I saw it clearly. I was like, oh my God, like up until that point, nothing had jacked me up, and the chocolate cake sent me into the tailspin. And I was laid out, man, like ruined, depressed as all could be. And I really did see clearly how gnarly our diets are. And for me, like one of the things as a sober person that I struggle with is sugar, dude. Like I still struggle, man. Like, I mean, I don't do it like I did. Like the other day, like about 3 weeks ago, we went wood cutting, and I remember I bought a little bag of Swedish fish for me and Al up on the mountain, dude, to have a couple Swedish fish, and fucked me up, man. They were good, dude, but like on the backside of it all, like I was like, that's why I don't touch. I have not had. I used to be a full candy sweets guy. I have not had like at the supermarket with the candy and all the stuff. That I haven't had a piece of candy from that you would buy like normal candy, dude, in 7 years, dude. Like I don't touch that stuff, dude. That hard, like that. Like I haven't had any of that kind of stuff, dude. I used to be a huge fan of like Reese's peanut butter cups, dude. I haven't had a touch Reese. I don't touch fast food. I haven't had a high fructose corn syrup soda in I don't know how long. But that doesn't mean that the sugar doesn't get into my dude. It's in everything, bro. It is like, no, dude, you can't. That was before you were born. It ratted me out, dude. And so So when you get like when your sobriety progresses, look, I remember my buddy. So I got sober and I was smoking. I started smoking when I got sober, like for real smoking. Cause I was like, I was that's what I was doing. And the early smoking saved my life, man. And I remember I was coming back from a meeting. I was by maybe 9 months sober, something like that. And I was on a rant, like, this is all bullshit, man. These are a bunch of hypocrites. We're all standing outside meetings, smoking cigarettes and pounding coffee. And those are two addictive substances. Like, how can we be sober and smoking cigarettes and pounding coffee? And my guy looks at me and he's like, look, man. He's like, look, you're not going to end up in jail because you had too many cigarettes. You're not going to end up in jail because you drank too much coffee, dude. You're not going to wreck the car. You're not going to do all these things. Look, he looks at me and goes, when the time is right. I remember Joe just in the car, just laughing at me, going, when the time is right, you will stop smoking cigarettes, dude. When the time is right, if you want, you'll stop drinking caffeine. And October 30th of 2011, I put my last cigarette out on Lake Forest Boulevard, and I have never, ever looked back. I returned to my natural state as a non-smoker, right? But I will always know that if I hadn't had those cigarettes in the beginning, I wouldn't have made it. I needed something to like just occupy my space, man. And stop doing that, dude. Please let me do what I'm doing. What, dude? At 6:30, you can question all you want, dude.
I'm just saying, is it okay if I?
No, it's not. It's what? Okay, what?
Fine.
Yeah, dude. You can't interrupt me like that, dude. Is it okay? What? Now I feel bad. What? No, seriously, dude. I apologize for not answering your question directly. Owl. What? I apologize. What do you want to know?
I want to know if I could go in that little 1985 stash of Legos and maybe go to a little space rover because I'm a little bit bored.
You know what you can do is you can clean up all the piles of Legos on the floor before you do that, because you can't pull any of that stuff till and I got through a bunch of it. So if you want to put some of those piles away to help me and to help you, right?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm done in like 10 minutes. So, and then
I was asking if I could go like a little 65 part, like little space rover, and maybe sort out some parts too.
Okay, whatever. Yes, you can.
Okay, because I know it's like your like secret stash. You don't want anybody touching it. He has like a big stash of like space Legos from like 1980.
Oh no, you can't dig in that. No, the big box of the stash. I've never even been through those. Like I'll go through those with you, dude. But those are the super like old stuff that like.
Just because I need the specific types.
No, because you know what it is those are actually like sets that are all in pieces. Like that, I don't want to take anything. You got what I'm saying? I've never sorted that out. Yeah, Lego does cure depression. I'll give you that. So what I was getting at is there you saw it in the sense of like we get all hopped up, and then I got the moon train. I did have that thing in there, and like we get all hopped up and we forget to slow ourselves down, dude. Like you just watched me catch myself in real time, like the important things, and we got hopped up and in sobriety. Like that's what I mean is like we can get overly sober. By the way, I again, nothing I am ever saying is ever advocating picking up again. Don't ever get that misconstrued. But what I'm saying is sometimes we can be too sober, like my buddy who just lost his mind on TikTok. It's just you get too sober. Sometimes you just need to be a normal human being without substances. Like I will say that for anyone out there who's thinking about getting sober, who has been sober for a little while, and one of the goals or something to look forward to, I'm like going to be 15 years sober. There are days and consecutive days that I have where the concept of drugs and alcohol never enter my body. The concept that I'm an alcoholic never enters my mind. And I'm just a normal human being. Like I'm like a total normal dude going about my business. I don't think one way or the other about it. I just go about, I don't notice it. I'm not looking at anyone's beard. I'm not doing anything. I'm just a dude going about his life. And I will tell you, like, that's some of the cool stuff. But the why I can pull it off is I have no doubt that the thought will return where I want to like smoke crack or drink 50,000 beers or eat mushrooms or whatever it is. So that's how I'm able to be like a normal dude, is I have no doubt that I'm not a normal dude. Like, right? Like that's what I'm getting at. So what I'm really trying to say about this mental health thing is it's super important to know when you're getting sober that you might come to a point where you realize that part of the problem is something that has to do with your wiring inside of yourself, that you might actually have some defective wiring that you can't solve with meditation. You can't solve with being sober. You can't solve with rewiring your neural net, that there's just some crossed wires, dude. And that the best you can do is deal with it. Right. So I like my buddy, if I go back to my buddy who I was taking care of back in the thing, this dude was on a thing where like he refused to take his lithium. And if you understand lithium, it's pretty innocuous, and it's a deficiency in your biochemistry. You're missing something, and the lithium is just a salt, and he refused to take it. And it's been a giant, and I get it because it's bullshit and this and that, but like also all the bullshit going on around you was affecting everyone when you could just like work with science a little bit. And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a health expert. I'm just a dude that sometimes you got to go like figure some stuff out and balance it out a little bit. Like nowhere do I advocate that is the fifth of gin or doing a bong hit or California sober or anything. I think all of it's bullshit, dude. I think that you got to battle through it like, but at the same time, this dude wouldn't admit he was crazy, right? Like that's why he wouldn't take the thing. It was this weird symbiotic relationship. When you're dealing with someone bipolar, it's a lot, man. I tell you, they really do suffer, man. So. Like legit crazy, dude. Like I don't tell stories about my friend ever generally because I took care of him, man. And that's between us. But I will tell you, having dealt with someone who is absolutely certifiably insane, it's a lot, dude, for them. And the hardest part is to get look, I guess what I would say is this: if my friend had alcoholism too, it would have been easier to give him help. The problem was it was in his head, right? And when it acted, there was no outward substance you could be like, let's start there. It was like, let's get into your brain and like tinker there. And then you bump into the pharmaceutical industry and all of these things. And so it's tricky, dude. And I don't think that people like, so that's what I guess what I'm getting at is I'm looking at my bro who just went off the deep end, the TikTok star, sober guy. And it's super hard, dude, especially if you're not doing the look in the mirror thing. I guess that's all I'm getting at is the journey of sobriety gets intense, man. And it's not, and it's intense because like you uncover some stuff about yourself that you can't do much about. Look, that's why we don't dwell on the past nor shut the door on it. Like, you can't change your past. You can't fix it. Like, what you can do is you can make amends for it. You can try to alleviate the pain that the other person experienced by your actions. But you yourself, you have to come to a place where you totally embrace it. Like, you have to be able to look at the dark, dirty past you had and hug it like it's a beautiful baby, because that's what God did for you. I mean, I'm going to get into like a proselytizing about it, but like, that's the concept of the fearless and searching moral inventory. And then the next step, which is you gave it to God and to another human being. You told God to another human being this, because that's the love. Because the minute you can admit your dark, dirty past and own it and begin to embrace it as you and part of you, and learn to love yourself, because that's why most people can't love themselves, is because they haven't learned to love their darkness. Yeah, I love my benevolence, but do I love my debauchery? And part of being sober is like, you learn you don't do that anymore, but you've learned to love your darkness, because that's why God forgave you. But so that's sort of the process. But then you get to another level of it all, where like, oh, this isn't debauchery and this and that. This is actually like wiring issues in my human conditions. And now what do I do? And so that's where, again, we have to ask for outside help once again. And there's no shame in being years and years sober, or 10 minutes sober, and calling up and being like, look, I can get sober, but what do I do about my mental health issue? And that's where, like, someone who's cool is going to go, look, dude, like, we need to get you some outside help, man. And that's between you and your outside help. That should not have anything to do with your sobriety, dude. Like, I think there's some people that claim to be sober and super sober that don't suffer from mental health issues, and try to tell people with mental health issues who are sober that they're not sober if they go seek outside help and do what is part of the regimen of outside help. I do not believe in that kind of sobriety. I do not believe in the suffering, because I did that. This dude did that. That's why I almost burned my life down. Well, it literally got burned down. But when all that went down with my herniated disc and my depression, I was so hell-bent on not doing anything. Like, why I suffered so long is I was never going to take any painkillers for my back. I was never going to go in and see anyone about my any of this stuff, because I'm fucking sober, man. And now insane sobriety isn't sober. That level of sobriety, when you're just not drinking and using and you refuse to go seek help, that is not sober. Sober is guys willing to go seek help. And sometimes, like I said, it wasn't until like I reached out to Dr. Kim and he gave me a path forward with my back. It wasn't until I went to that meeting, admitted that I don't do drugs and alcohol, but I'm crazier than when I did drugs and alcohol, because I'm suffering from this depression thing and I'm pretending I'm not suffering from it, So yeah, pride is one of the things, dude. So on that level, look, man, we could wrap it up. We always got to bookend these things, or I'll just keep babbling forever, dude. So we're at an hour mark. Listen, there's a number, and someone used to do, I forgot who used to do the numbers for me, the suicide prevention numbers on the way out the door. Listen, if you're feeling suicidal, like, please don't take that action. There's a lot of numbers you can call. You can call anyone and go, hey man, like, I don't want to kill myself. Or I'm planning on it, dude. And talk to someone and just alleviate that. So we got the in the UK, it's 116123 UK, and in the United States, it's 119. And Yeah, man. Like we've lost a lot of good people because they didn't want to reach out for help and they took their own lives, man. And whatever it is, there is a solution to it. I don't know if there's a cure to everything, but there is a solution. There is a manageability to these things. You don't need to be like my friend who was the sheriff and take your own life because you didn't know who to call. You can call someone, anyone, dude. These numbers, the 119 in the US, the suicide prevention numbers, there's no shame in it, dude. There is no shame to go, dude, it's too much. And I can't do this anymore, dude. And call someone and just talk it out and then realize like, whew, it was just some feelings and thoughts I was having, dude. Like, look, feelings and emotions aren't real, dude. They're just feelings and emotions. So please, let's stay alive one more day and get to the next, because you can't get sober if you're dead, dude. I mean, seriously, dude. So with that said, let's end it with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. All right. God's blessed us. And thanks for being here. And I think 9:30 tonight, dude, we're doing a stream over on the Lego channel, dude. We got the Shackleton ship, dude. So see you over on the Lego channel at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. With that said, let's all take care of each other and use the name tags. Don't forget, please pick up the phone if you're thinking about ending it, man. All right. Good night.